Hi class, good morning. Sir Alex here and welcome to another fun-filled learning videos that you are going to watch. So before we start our lesson for today, I hope that you are in your proper places. You have with you your ballpen and notebook so that you can jot down all the special important matters in this subject. So our topic for today is all about asexual reproduction. So there are two types of reproduction. We have asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. When we say asexual reproduction, it only needs one parent. While sexual reproduction, it needs two parents, which are the male and the female parent. So our learning objectives are: the learners demonstrate understanding on the process of asexual reproduction. Give example of animals that undergo asexual reproduction. And last, describe the different modes of reproduction. So I have here the different types of animals with their offspring. We have pigs, horses, dogs with their families. So all we know that in order to have piglets, kittens, and puppies, it needs to have the mommy and daddy parent. But on the other side, we have here the starfish and hydra. So how does this animal grow and reproduce for their own offspring? Asexual reproduction does not need one male and one female to produce an offspring. A single parent organism simply makes identical copies. So in other words, asexual reproduction need only one parent to reproduce. So how is it possible na wala siyang kapartner? Paano magkakaanak ang isang hayop kung iisa lamang siya? So what are the kinds of animals that belongs to asexual reproduction? What are the types of asexual reproduction? So these are the questions that need to be answered after this lesson. So we have here the types of asexual reproduction. So number one, budding is a mode of reproduction where the parent organism splits into two unequal parts. So one of the example is the hydra. Then next is the sponge. So here are the video about hydra and sponge.
Hydra. Hydra is one of the simplest sedentary multicellular freshwater organism about 1 centimeter long. It has a tubular body with a basal disc for attachment and a free distal or oral end-bearing mouth and circlet of tentacles. Hydra reproduces asexually by budding. At the time of asexual reproduction, small buds appear on the body wall. As the bud elongates, a mouth opens at its free anterior end, followed by the development of tentacles at the base of the oral region. The newly developed hydra detaches from the parent body and fixes on a substratum.
Are the hydra and sponge. So next is we have here the regeneration is the ability of an organism to regrow lost body parts Simple animals such as planaria, starfish, and earthworm have the ability to regenerate lost part. So ibig sabihin, ito yung mga hayop na kapag naputol ang isang parte ng kanilang katawan ay nabubuhay at nabubuo sa panibagong hayop or kagaya mismo ng starfish, planaria, or earthworm. So this is an example of planaria. Starfish and the earthworm. Paano ba nagre-regenerate yung planaria? So, yan. So, kapag po nahati yung planaria, tapos napakawala ulit siya sa ocean, yan po yung mangyayari. Tutubo at nang tutubo yung kalahati ng katawan niya. So, it's called regeneration. And also, just like starfish, when the starfish is naputol kahit yung isang limb niya, yung isang limb niya kapag naputol, pwede yung mag-create again ng another 4 limbs. Or kahit kapag naputol siya in half, pwede pa din siyang magkaroon ng another half of the limbs para makompleto yung starfish, part ng starfish. Possible ito kapag naputol siya mismo dun sa dagat. Pag naputol siya sa land, mamamatay siya. Ano po? So that is an example of regeneration. Worm. So, as usually yung worm, kapag nakita natin, kapag pinutol pala natin sila into two, so those two cut worm ay pwedeng magkaroon ng ulo or yung kalahati ulit. Mabubuo ulit siya. So, worm is already part of or undergoing regeneration. Next is the parthenogenesis. So this mode of reproduction is usually found in females. The growth and development of embryos occur without fertilization by male. So example of parthenogenesis occurs in some invertebrates like the species of wasp, bees, and vertebrates which is the nematodes. So, papaano ba nagkakaroon ng another bees without mating into a male or a female? So, in honeybee colonies, the fertilized eggs become females, and the unfertilized eggs will develop into a male drones. This is a process known as haploid parthenogenesis. The unfertilized egg has only half the number of chromosomes of a fertilized egg. So these eggs are not fertilized and will produce only male honeybees. So those bees na nag-undergo ng parthenogenesis, half lang pala ng chromosomes meron sila compared to those fertilized egg bees. And karamihan or lagi ang kinalalabasan ng parthenogenesis bees ay mga lalaking honeybees lamang. So that is the parthenogenesis. So next is the binary fission. Reproduced asexually through binary fission in which the parent organism divides into two to produce two genetically identical daughter or organisms. So one of the example is the coral polyps. So kapag yung coral polyps pala lumaki ng lumaki, nahati siya sa dalawa. Tapos mayroon ng dalawang coral polyps. Yun yung nangyayari. So, coral polyps can reproduce asexually and sexually. In asexual reproduction, new clonal polyps bud from parent polyps to expand or begin new colonies. So, this occurs when the parent polyps reaches a certain size and divides. So, kagaya siya ng bakterya. Di ba yung bakterya habang tumatakal nagdodoble, tapos doble, triple, tapos nagdodouble yung number. Kagaya din po siya ng coral polyps. Once the coral polyps exceeded the size, it divides. Tapos another coral polyps produced. So that is the binary fission. So that's it, class. So I have here the advantages of asexual reproduction in animals. Animals that remain in one particular area and are unable to look for mates would need to reproduce asexually. Next advantage is the numerous offspring can be produced without costing the parent great amount of energy and time. In constant environment, a large number of offspring can be produced in a short period of time. So we have also the disadvantages of asexual reproduction. In animals are as follows. So all of the organisms are genetically identical and therefore share the same weaknesses. If the stable environment changes, the consequence could be fatal or deadly to all of the species. So that's all. So let's exercise your mind. Again, what is asexual reproduction? Yes, Rachel. Very good. Asexual reproduction does not need one male and one female parent to produce an offspring. A single parent organism simply makes identical copies. Next, what are the types of asexual reproduction? We have four. Can you give me Jessica? Okay, very good. Budding. Also, can you give me Ken? Another types of asexual reproduction. Regeneration. Very good. Another. Yes, Catherine. Parthenogenesis. And lastly, we have the binary fission. Very good. Next, what are the animals that undergo budding? Can you give me one, class? Hydra. Very good. The other is the sponge. So these are the types, or these are the animals that undergo budding. Another one. What are the animals that undergo regeneration? Can you give me one, class? Okay, very good. This is planaria, starfish, and worm. So these are the animals that undergo regeneration. Again, the parthenogenesis, we have the bees, wasps, nematodes, and also the, what do you call this one? Ants. Lastly, binary fission is the coral polyps. So those are the asexual reproduction and the types. So that's all for today, class. Now let's proceed to our exercises. I hope you enjoy learning. So number 1, in your notebook, write your answer on the space provided. Number 1, it is the ability of an organism to regrow lost body parts, simple animals such as planaria, starfish, earthworm, and have the ability to regenerate lost part. Number 2, reproduce asexually through binary fission, in which the parent organisms divide into two to produce two genetically identical daughter organisms. Number 3 is a mode of asexual reproduction where the parent organism splits into two unequal parts. Number 4 belongs to the phylum of segmented worms. The body of the earthworm is cylindrical and divided into a ring-like segments. Number 5, this mode of reproduction is usually found in females. The growth and development of their embryos occurs without fertilization by male. Number 6 to 7, give at least 2 animals that undergo budding asexual reproduction. Then last, 8 to 10, what are the disadvantages of asexual reproduction in animals? And for your assignment, in a 1/4 size illustration board, draw the types of asexual reproduction, the binary, regeneration, budding, and the animals that belongs to this group. Thank you, class. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope that you keep on watching, enjoying the lesson.